Okay,
Okay.
so we're just going to have a question in general, and then
Mhm.
anyone can answer from there. Is that how we're doing this?
Yeah, you'll see how it goes, okay? Don't stress.
I'm not stressing. I'm happy.
Hello. Steve. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Open Mic Foundation. Today we have the youth around the kitchen talk. So today's is a kitchen talk. I have the youth coming around my kitchen to talk about a very, very interesting topic today. Is marriage overrated? We're quickly waiting for Laseko to join us quickly before we commence the talk. I want to welcome everybody today. Thank you guys so much for being brave. I'm going to say brave and have lots of courage. So thank you guys so much for joining. I'm just waiting for Laseko to get on. Guys, Open Mic Foundation is a storytelling platform. We feature on various different platforms. You can catch us live on Sunday afternoons, in some cases, depending which countries are sharing their stories. We have time differences, so please take note of that. We usually do come on Sunday afternoons, like what we are doing today. We have individual talks and we have kitchen talks. On Facebook, we are at Open Mic Foundation, and on Instagram, we are at Open Mic Foundation _, and we do have a YouTube channel as well. So please support us. And this youth today that we have around the kitchen, hello guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. And you guys are brave and courageous. I just want to say that to you guys. So thank you so much for joining. I just want to give you guys, just tell us, who you are, where you're from, so that everybody has a sense of where you're from. We don't have to talk about age, so don't worry, guys. They are all over 18, and they are under 26. Let's leave it as that. We're not going to talk about age, right? Let's start with Laseko.
Alrighty. Hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today. Like, I'm really, really excited about this topic. So my name is Lesego. A little bit about me. So I work within the civic engagement industry, and I work as a business development officer and also facilitator. I'm very, very passionate about youth engagement and mental health. So a lot of the times I find myself in spaces where I interact with a lot of young people, and I am from the West Rand. So representing the West Rand today.
Thank you so much. Guys, just take note, all of our youth talks is from South Africa. None of them are from another country today. We couldn't get a lot of people on board, so it was a lot of things that's going on. So so Rudo, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rudo. Not new to the platform, as you know. I am the brand ambassador and also the communication strategist for Open Mic. That's me. I'm happy to be back, and thank you to our viewers for tuning in.
Kenwell.
Hey. Hi, my name is Kenwell. I'm also from the West Rand, like Lesego, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm still a student, but like I'm taking this year off just because COVID was a lot and online learning is a lot, and I just needed some time for my own mental health. So
Fantastic.
That's me.
Thank you so much. Stian.
Hi guys, I'm Stian Boetes. I am from Pretoria, Centurion side. I am a working young adult in the finance industry as an auditor. So all of the analytical side of stuff, I'm usually the guy that thinks about that. Seshni never agrees with me, but I think that's why I am on the call though. So it's nice to share my opinion, and if you do disagree, like I said, it's just an opinion. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So today's talk is about, is marriage overrated? And the reason why I chose this topic, it is such a conversation that's happening right now across the world. We find a lot of talks have been having a lot of conversations about culture, religion, and people's belief systems. And as we evolve through the different generations, and we tend to evolve ourselves and what we believe, right? There's been a big conversation happening in the US regarding polygamy. And obviously we'll get into those chats a little bit later. And, for me, it's just interesting to hear from you guys, the youth of South Africa, what's the conversation like, with you guys and, with your friends and your spouses, if you guys have girlfriends or boyfriends. If you are, none of you guys are married, so I do know that. So, it's just interesting to understand from your point of view, what are the conversations that are happening with the youth of today? And what are their views about marriage? Because we have changed in terms of generations and how we view the world and all of the things that have been rippling effects. I mean, we have so much of things that has been happening, I would say the last 2 to 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of change that has happened, right? So I'm gonna let Lesego start the conversation now, right?
Okay, no pressure.
Lesego works with youths as well, and she's got a huge, passion for the youth and mental wellness. So I want to start with you, Lesego, and I want to get your sense about, listen, there's no right and wrong answer here, guys, right? And I want to also share with our viewers that's on today. Whatever's shared here is based on people's experience and their opinions. There's no judgment, as you guys are fully aware of open mic. Do not judge based on people's experience and opinions. You are free to share what you experience, what you've been through. Okay, and we all respect that. You are welcome to ask questions. So we do have viewers online, guys. So welcome those are online. Please share your thoughts, your comments, and questions to the team and to the people that's online. And if you have any questions for me, please do so. But please make it interactive and share what is coming through for you guys so that we know what do other people experience as well. All right. So Lesego, let's kick it off with you.
Alrighty, cool. As a disclaimer, can I just say I am young, so obviously I don't have all the experience or the knowledge. But like Sheshni said, this is based on my own conversations that I've had with people around me and also my own experience and what I think about marriage. So I am on the fence about it. Like I had a lot to think about over the week, and I'm still on the fence about whether marriage is overrated or not. But what I will say is the concept of marriage, I personally think is overrated. And the reasons why I say it's overrated is one, getting married doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be happy. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that actually when you do get married, everything changes, right? So I've always struggled with this concept of people thinking, oh, okay, I'm in a relationship, we get married, all of a sudden there's going to be love, there's going to be respect, there's going to be financial stability. No. There's going to be commitment. No. If you don't have that before marriage, then after marriage, it's still going to be the same.
Yeah.
And also what I think as well is when it comes to marriage, personally, I do believe that getting married or the concept of marriage and how I've grown up as a young Black girl, it speaks to gender roles as well, that it actually enforces gender roles when you actually do get married. So for example, I was actually even thinking about this, that as a Black young woman, when you do get married, on the day of your wedding, you sit down with all your grannies and your aunties, right? And they tell you certain things like as a woman and as a wife, you're going to need to cook, clean, give birth, and do certain things. And I've always wondered, why do you guys never have this conversation? It's always only the woman, and it forces those gender roles that like, oh my gosh, it's only the woman, right? So those are my thoughts. I mean, I could get into a whole lot about why I think marriage is overrated. But I'm going to leave it on that. And like I said, I am still on the fence about it. I do think there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship and loving someone, but getting into marriage, like there's more. Why can't we just be life partners? Like, why do we need to take that step, go sign pieces of paper? Also thinking that not everybody, like we're all not immune to divorce. So divorce can happen to everyone and it's expensive. Marriage is expensive, divorce is expensive. And if I'm going to avoid that and rather just be with someone as a life partner, then I'm okay with that. So yeah.
So do you guys have any questions for Lesego?
No.
No,
not
I
really.
agree.
So far, I actually do agree.
Okay, so here's a question, Lesego, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you said, in terms of being happy, why do you feel that people would not be happy? What do you think would be something that won't be happy?
When I say,
Go
Rita, do you
for
want to
it.
go to answer? Please go ahead. I'll answer after you.
Okay, because and like just to answer is like I feel that people think this step forward will make us happy. You should already be happy without the paper, without the officialness of having a ring on your finger and this is my husband, this is my wife. I think people get into marriage thinking that this next level will bring them something spectacular. And it's not even like that. You're just literally continuing with your relationship the way it's always been. Just like sometimes people want children because they think it'll bring their partner, you and your partner closer together, when that's not even the case. I think it's the mental or the psychological thinking of, because this seems more official, we are going to be more committed to one another, therefore we will be happier, when that's actually not the case.
Okay.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with what Rita is saying. And from a mental health perspective, and the work I've done with mental health as well, is that when you do get into a relationship and you're with someone, you shouldn't expect that person to make you happy. Like, happiness should come from you and the things around you that fulfill you, right? When you come together, yes, you are sharing in that happiness. And like Rita said, I think a lot of people, based on what I've seen and the conversations that I've had, is that you jump into marriage thinking that it's going to save something, or that, like, I don't know, like there's always that honeymoon phase. Like, if you want the honeymoon phase, you can have the honeymoon phase, but it's hard work. It doesn't necessarily mean that after you get married, like there will be a honeymoon phase, right? Why can't you have the honeymoon phase throughout your relationship, whether you're married or not?
Exactly.
So I don't think that happiness necessarily will come out of a marriage. And like Rita said as well, if you're unhappy as yourself, as an individual, and as a couple, and you think that getting married will save you and will, I don't know, happiness will come out of it, you're going to end up feeling trapped. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm stuck here now. I have to make it work with this person. I don't know. It's also like the finality of it. Marriage like has like this final thing, like, oh my gosh, like it's so final. Getting out of a marriage is not easy. If you're in a relationship and there's no legal how can I put it? Like, there's no bindings that is legal. Like, it's easy for me to walk away, right? I'm not saying that you should always walk away when there's trouble, but like, I don't know, I just feel like it's easier and you don't feel so trapped. And I know, for example, within the Black community, a lot of people stay in relationships for the sake of saying that, one, we don't want society to judge us, two, we're doing it for our kids, and also it's the shame that it brings for yourself, right? So man, if you can choose yourself and you choose, you know what, I'm gonna be happy, I don't need to get married, then that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, all right, guys. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys watching right now, guys. So if you guys agree with Laseko, I mean, send some comments and thoughts through with what Laseko has just said. I would like to hear from you guys that's on the call right now. We do have some viewers on, and I would like to hear from you guys. Share with us your thoughts. Kenwell, what do you think?
Okay, so I kind of approached it differently.
Sure.
For me, it's not just marriage, but like romantic relationships as a whole. I just think that society places way too much value on it. Like, if someone isn't in a romantic relationship or hasn't been in one for a while, like there's like a sort of thing of like, what's wrong with them? You know, like that kind of vibe. So I'm on that side of it. But at the same time, I hesitate to say marriage is overrated because like I think about like same-sex couples, like even in South Africa 20 years ago, they wouldn't have been able to get married, you know, and there's also like sort of tax benefits and like all that other legal blah, blah stuff that I don't really know that well, but you know, stuff you get like that from marriage. So I hesitate to say it's overrated, but definitely we place too much emphasis on it in society. Yeah.
Do you think that let's talk about same-sex marriages, right? Do you think same-sex marriages get the same pressure that we would get as well? I mean, surely, I mean, I wouldn't know what the parents would feel like, right? But do you think same-sex marriages as well get the same type of pressure from a society and a culture perspective as well?
I would say maybe even more. I think like people tend to judge same-sex relationships more than they judge, know, what we see all the time. So like, especially because there's this idea that queer people sort of just get together and break up and like they just do what they want and like their relationships aren't serious. So like when people get married, I think they're scrutinized a lot more. And like what Lesego brought up, like people feeling trapped, and it's like we place marriage so high that if a marriage isn't, how do I say, successful, or if like people split up in the end, that's also seen as like a personal failure of the other people. It's not just thought of as like, oh, people are growing apart and like, that's okay in life. It's like these people didn't try hard enough. These people didn't work hard enough. That's what it's seen as.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Rudo?
You know what I wanted to say, right? I wanted to say that's so true, because what happens is, I think, especially for the youth, like Ken will say, it's almost like you need to be in a relationship to have a life. First of all, I think a lot of the marriage and the whole relationship and romantic relationship is driven by social media. Everybody wants to post a vacation. Everybody wants to post a promise ring. Ooh, this is where we went. And that content is it, you love it. It's admirable, it's beautiful, but people get so pressured to even posting a perfect relationship. You might be even with a lady or a man who doesn't even treat you right, but because you want to be in a relationship, you will stay in that relationship. And that just goes back to Kenwell's point of, we put it on such a high pedestal that a romantic relationship at this age is beautiful because you're building together, but nobody talks about building yourself. And also, I did want to say, I do feel like same-sex marriages and same-sex relationships are definitely, seem definitely more difficult because of the perceptions that come along with it. Some people don't believe that humans can be like that. Some people don't think that, is it really love? They're just fooling around. It's, they're discovering their bodies. So I think when they get married, it's a matter of, let's see how long they will last. Let's see if this is actually love. So it definitely does, it does play a role, and I do think it's more difficult. Is marriage overrated? I'm definitely on the fence.
I think we all
And
on
I
the
only
fence.
say that because I think I always wanted, to come home with my husband and my kids, and we're around the table and I'm just annoying my children. But there is another side to me that says, I genuinely can have a life partner and I can love somebody without having to sign papers, without having to change my surname. But at the back of my mind, there are a lot of cultural factors, traditional factors that come into mind that I keep thinking, do I want to go through that? Do I want my child to be out of wedlock, as would say? So there are a lot of factors that go behind my mind, but I'm really, really on the fence. Leading up to this talk, I've been saying, Rudo, is it a yes or no? But I really do not know. And I think as time goes on and experience, the things that I will experience, it will affect it. But currently, it is really a yes or no.
Okay.
I agree with both sides.
Okay. Kenwell, you wanting to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, in terms of the scrutiny of maybe same-sex marriages, like, so it doesn't sound like so negative. Also, like, even if it's just people looking up to that marriage because it's not something they see a lot, or maybe you're queer yourself and that's something you aspire to, even looking up to that relationship like that, it's still putting that pressure on people that like they need to be this perfect couple. Yeah.
Can I also just say something? I think what Rudo brought up, and I think this is probably like the biggest thing I struggle with and why I'm also on the fence. She brought up having children out of wedlock. Now, for me and where I am religiously and where I am in my faith, I don't believe, well, personally for me, I don't want to have intimacy outside of wedlock. But it's also like, I also don't want to necessarily get married. So it's like, how then do I navigate that? That I don't want to be intimate with anyone and I don't want to be vulnerable with anyone. outside of marriage, but I also don't necessarily want marriage. And like Ruda said, there also is a lot of judgment as well. Like if you're not married for a very long time, you calling yourselves life partners, like people will ask questions. And I honestly don't want to be living life always having to answer and justify why I'm choosing that for myself. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to hold back for now because I want Stian. Because I want Stian to come in here. Because, and I appreciate the honesty that's going on here, right? It's very honest, it's very authentic, and I feel it, you know, and I appreciate the honesty that you're sharing. And I'll come from a person that's much older, so that you get a little bit more of insight of some of the things that you guys are sharing right now. Guys that's on, please share your comments, your thoughts, some questions for our audience, for our team that's online. I would really like to hear for the people that's online, if there's anything that you have to say regarding this topic, and if there's any questions towards, you know, our speakers today. Stian?
Wow. Okay. I'm kind of in two minds regarding if it's overrated or not, due to the fact I always view something out of an analytical perspective. And at that age right now, where it seemed a very popular choice to get engaged and get married and move on and take that big step of in your life going forward. So it does feel a bit weird for me going to all these weddings, which is close friends of mine that actually studied with me. And we are, what, 2 years out of varsity. And from an analytical perspective, I don't think anyone is really in a financial state to actually do that. But then going from another point of view, I feel it's overrated in the fact to getting married right now because of a religious kind of thing. People want to justify their actions, what they're doing. And I think that is where it gets a bit overrated for me, because it's starting to get a very big social thing. Like you guys said, it's posting that thing on Facebook. It's such a big diamond. We're getting engaged. We're taking that big next step. And you kind of feel pressured taking that step with a person that you're currently with because everyone else is doing it. And I feel that the idea behind that is overrated, but not marriage itself, because in the end, it's all about that commitment, making that not with the people, telling them, listen, I am giving you the security that I want to stay with you the rest of my life. And that's out of the perspective where I say it's not overrated. So that's how I feel about the thing. So that's why I say I'm in between, because I do feel, like you guys said, there is a lot of pressure from outside society placed on you. I have a lot of friends that got engaged, went to a few weddings last year myself, and it does get scary. Sitting there in the crowd, even not having a girlfriend at that stage, need to taking a friend just to have a dance partner, and then you're looking at her like, wow, she dresses so nice for this one day. Maybe not. So stuff like that does apply pressure. So I do agree with everything that you guys said. Even with same-sex couples, you asked if they do have pressure from a religious point of perspective. I am a Christian, and I know they place a lot of pressure on people like that. And I know there's a lot of people that have issues regarding that and why they're there, or why they made a decision like that. So at the end of the day, it's your decision on how you want to approach it, or how you want to handle it, or what's going on in your life. Don't let anyone else from society place that pressure on you. I know it's easier said than done at the end of the day, but it is a difficult topic. It's something in between. But if we want to break it down, what is marriage at the end of the day? It's making that commitment and giving that person that security that you want to stay with them the rest of your life. I think that's
Okay.
why I said it's not overrated.
I hear you. So I'm going to come from a different angle right now. Okay.
Okay.
So we talk about judgment. There was a lot of discussion about judgment, right? Do you not believe that you put judgment on yourself?
100%.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely. It catches you quite quick. Like I said, I went to a few weddings.
Yeah.
And you do place that judgment on yourself for not being at that stage of your life, because it does feel, I mean, if you take the normal way of going. Kenwell, you said you're studying right now, taking that gap year, but still busy studying. What is next after that? It's getting a job, getting that financial security, and then getting someone to start settling down. And now you're still here trying to study, and you're getting invited to a wedding. So I feel in a sense you are starting to place a lot of pressure on yourself to get to that stage at the end of the day, because everyone else is doing it. So it's a society norm that you need to do.
I have to share this. When you said all of those steps, right? Because what you just described that steps. I have to, you finish school and you have to go to college and you have to get married and you have to have children and you have to have a wedding, you have to have a house and you have to have, guys, you don't have to have any of that.
Yeah.
It's true.
But I think it's true. But sorry, Stian. But can we also just remember that we are in a generation right now where we are trying to unlearn those systematic ways of doing things, right? So we are in the process of am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? And I think that's where maybe for me, I could say not necessarily judgment, because honestly speaking, if you're not related to me, and I mean direct related, I honestly don't care what you have to say about me, right? But it's more of the pressure that you put on yourself that, okay, yes, we are in this generation, and this generation is doing a lot of challenging. We're challenging the way society is, we're challenging ourselves. And basically it's tough. It's not easy, because you're trying to unlearn something that's been a certain way for a very, very, very long time. And while you're still trying to unlearn that, you have to answer so many questions and you don't even know all the answers. So your parents also do have these conversations with you and they ask you, okay, so why don't you want to get married? And justifying that, it's why do we need to justify it? Can't I just say I just don't want to get married, or I do want to get married, and just leave it at that? But if that would be in an ideal world where we'd be okay, well, there's no pressure, we don't care, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. So that's what I think about that.
So here's the question to you guys. You all come from very different backgrounds and very different upbringings. Do you get pressure from your family, from your moms and dads and aunts and uncles?
Yeah. And you know what? It's not even in a negative way. I think sometimes it comes from a good side where they want you to be able to, stand by yourself, to be an independent woman, to get your own money. But when it comes to the point of marriage, you get these family gatherings and, oh, you're going to be such a lovely mom. It doesn't even have to be a direct pressure, but it's comments and the greatness that they want for you can sometimes come as pressure, because you're thinking, when I was a little girl, they said that they want to stay until I'm married. And now they're getting older. I don't even have a boyfriend. And because of, all of those wonderful things they want for you, I think that there's a point where it turns into pressure, where you're just like, man, I got my honors. Why am I not getting the job I want? Or man, I have everything. I have my own apartment, but I don't have a man. So, I'm not even building with anybody. I don't even want to build with anybody. But you remember all the things that I want to say, grew up with. The looking at your aunts and uncles being happily married, they're always saying, oh, Rudo, when you're taking care of their child, oh, look at you, you're such a natural. All of that is at the back of your head when you start thinking about topics like this, because you're saying, ooh, and that's when it just becomes pressure. Positive and negative pressure.
Rudo, I do want to agree with you based on the point when you say with family gatherings, because that's always the first thing that gets asked if you go to a family gathering. So did you meet that special person yet? It's the first grandparents wise, it's the first thing they always ask, and it catches you. But on the next few stuff that you said, I do want to build on that. I think, like you said, there comes a time in your life which is around. And I think that the biggest fear that we as the youth have is ending up alone, because I don't know if all your parents are still together, but the most basic example that's set there is that your parents are together and you need someone in life. So I think we built that fear that we don't want to die alone. I think that's where we start to put the pressure on ourselves to get someone to take that next step, to be married and to build a successful life further with someone else. And I think that's where our problem comes in at the end of the day, is creating that own fear for ourselves.
Stian, can I please ask you? Sorry, Sheshi.
Go for it, Laseko. Go for it.
So you're saying basically you don't want to die alone, right? And you need that companion. But does a companion necessarily have to be like a partner? Why can't your companions or people that are around you be your own family and your friends, right? Because the idea of like, okay, I'm gonna die alone without like a romantic, I'm okay with that. Just as long as I've got my family and I've got people around me, like a good support structure, you know what I mean? Then like I am okay with you, like okay with that idea. So I just wanted to ask you, like, yeah, with that, considering that.
Okay, I do understand what you're trying to say. Like, I do even consider Sesni as family because we have a very close relationship. So I in generally share everything with her and she gives her point of view. You're talking about a perspective like that, people that's very close to you, that you don't really need a life companion and that you're not dying alone in that sense. Okay, so like I said, back to the first statement that I made, I think it's that society norm that puts it on you that you need a life companion. And due to the fact that everyone is posting that picture, they are doing these big stuff. And I mean, it's a big thing when you get married at the end of the day. So, and I think it's, like I said, it's that norm that gets pressured onto you. I always said, I don't want to die alone. I want to share my successes with someone at the end of the day. I want that cool picture with my girlfriend where I got my degree. At the end of the day, that didn't happen, but it's something that my friends around me could have posted or did post, and they had these nice comments and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm standing all on my own. I got my degree. Nice, well done. I don't know. For me, it just feels nice if you have that someone it feels like there's someone that's always got that got your back, not the ones that you grew up with or that came along, but that's someone special, someone that always comments on your posts or that's always there, not necessarily on social media at the end of the day, but just that one person that's always there that's going to come to you and tell you, well done, I am proud of you. So I think in that sense, like you said, it can be a life partner. You don't need to get engaged. You don't need to get married at the end of the day. I think it just goes to have that partner to build the rest of your life with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we have a question and a comment that's online right now. The points of religion and tradition as pressures of marriage were raised earlier. Is there a point at which we would compromise on tradition or religion if your happiness lay with someone who didn't want to get married? The social pressures may be easier to avoid, but tradition and religion run deeper with some people. So I was just curious about that. Thank you. That's a great question.
Yeah, it's actually a very hard question to answer. I know, I don't know. Yo, Garuda, please, if you want to attack it head on, please answer the question.
I think this falls back on finding someone who has the same values as you. And whoever you are with, they shouldn't or don't have to be similar to you, but values and their belief system is something that I think you both should have an understanding about. Even before you get to the point of that marriage is an idea, you should be able to spiritually and traditionally be aligned. It doesn't mean that just because I'm Christian, I cannot go for a Muslim, but it does mean that I need to be able to respect their religion and their tradition. And knowing that when it comes to the marriage topic, I need to know, you will kind of have a sort of understanding that would my partner be not okay with it? Does it really damage their belief system and their values? Because that, once you understand someone's belief system and their values and their background and their culture, I think you would, when it comes to marriage, you would kind of know, okay, this is going to be difficult if I don't marry this man, or if I have children out of wedlock with this woman, it's going to be terrible for her, and it might ruin our relationship. So I think from the relationship, from the jump, know the values and the belief system of who you are with.
So this has got nothing to do with that. So listen to the question. The question is there a point at which you would compromise on your tradition and religion if your happiness lies with someone who didn't want to get married?
Yes, I would definitely compromise. Because if but I don't even see it as a compromise, because if my happiness is there, and currently, I don't know about next year, but currently I am okay with not being married, then yes, I would definitely let that go, and it wouldn't even be a compromise. But I need to be really happy to be able to be like, we can be life partners, you know? Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes for me.
Kenwell, what did you think?
For me, it's also yes, but like, relationships are about compromise, essentially. Like, it's two people, different ideas, different viewpoints coming together and, like, you know, finding middle ground between themselves because they decide that they want to be together. So it would depend, but I'm saying yes, like, you know, if people talk things through and stuff, yeah.
So do you guys believe that tradition and religion currently today, as we stand, influences you whether to get married or not?
Yes.
Yes
Definitely.
and no. Yes and no. I think okay, I don't know how to in terms of like tradition, not necessarily, because if I were to get married, like I wouldn't mind getting married to a person who's got different, not necessarily traditions, but a different culture, because then that's an opportunity for us to actually learn and to grow together, right? And to build something of our own. So there I would be okay with. But when it comes to religion, I'm at a point in my life where like religion and my faith is very important to me. And there I don't play any games. So like there is influence in the sense of, obviously, if you do read, I'm a Christian, if you do read the Bible, there is that expectation that as a woman I should be getting married and the husband should be the head of the nerd. That I disagree with. So that's how I'm saying, like, it's like a yes or no, because it's just like like it's really strange. And I've been trying to unlearn, like taking the Bible very literal and actually having a relationship with God. I don't want to get into religion, but having that relationship with God, and I don't know, just learning and not necessarily following like a handbook with like rules, because we're all different. We've got different experiences, and so that's where I stand with that.
Okay, I really just need to build on this quickly. You guys say you will compromise. Like, Kenwell, you said, in a sense, you would compromise. But going back to religion, if we look just after that, okay, now we compromise. You need to take that into mind that you have so much more challenges lying ahead for your relationship. And are you willing to fight that battles at the end of the day, going forward and not giving up? Because if you started something and now all of this sudden you get this resistance from other people, like let's for instance say you in a relationship with someone of another religion or another culture, there is stuff that's going to be different. I mean, some people can't drink, they cannot have a beer with a braai, other people don't eat pork. There is stuff like that. Are you willing to compromise to that extent? And the rest of society that are going to come and place you with or give you those different challenges. So if you are willing to compromise, are you willing to take up that next level of challenge that's coming your way? Because it is coming. You can't avoid it. It is going to come at the end of the day, due to the fact that we are placed in these little cubicles. So you're a Christian, so you need to get engaged or get married to another Christian, and they need to be the same ethnic group and at the end of the day. And as soon as you step outside of those blocks that society has placed you in, they are going to start challenging you. So I think you need to take into mind, if you are willing to compromise, are you also willing to raise or go to that next step of fighting the challenges that are coming? It is going to build your relationship much bigger at the end of the day, because you're going to conquer something bigger. but you
So-
need
And
to
how
take that into
far,
mind.
yeah, and how far
So,
actually
so
will you
here's
also
a challenge,
compromise?
guys. So here's a challenge. We talk about compromise. We talk about culture. We talk about religion. One of the things that I don't hear from you guys is, what do you want?
I want love. There must be love. There must be love. There must be happiness. There must be joy. You know, I can
Mm.
see
So,
everything else, but there must be love.
Financial stability, financial
Yes.
stability.
so here's the thing. So here's why I'm saying this, and stay on to your point. You know, when you compromise, when you're willing to compromise, you know, before you could even compromise, is about acceptance,
Mm,
Mm,
that's
right?
true.
mm,
If you can accept and if you can understand, there's no need to compromise because
That's
you've
true.
already accepted what you have within and with the other person for that matter. However, when you are in that space of acceptance, it's also about how do you grow together and how do you accept when you do grow, whether it's a couple, whether you're in a marriage, doesn't matter. Rudo spoke about belief systems and values. Rudo, being in a marriage for 21 years, I can honestly, truly tell you from experience, you can step into a relationship like that, but it doesn't mean to say that you will stay the same.
Yeah.
Mm,
Those
that's
values
true.
and those belief systems changes constantly. Constantly. Are
Mm,
you willing to accept a person in terms of their growth and accept them and grow with them? Because when you don't and you step back
Mm.
and the other person's not at that same, you become actually apart.
Parallel. Mm.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do,
yeah.
right? You do.
yeah, that's
So
true.
it's and that's what I don't hear from you guys. You know, we talk about judgment, we talk about society, we talk about social media, the pressures and stuff. We talk about parents and what they give us and stuff. But do we tell our parents, no, that is not what we want, or that's not what I want? What is it that you want?
Mm. To be happy. I think
Yeah.
that's the main point of it. To be happy is the
That's the
main.
key.
Doesn't matter what challenge there is. The end goal, technically speaking, is to be happy. Like you said, marriage and being in a relationship is a dynamic thing. It is going to change, and we did speak about compromise. It's a thing that me and my girlfriend we always talk about is compromising. I want McDonald's, she wants Tia's. What are we going to do? Let's go for a pizza or something at the end of the day. It's a basic idea like that at the end of the day that you need to take into consideration. But I think narrowing it down towards the root center, it's being happy.
So
And that's
Stia,
what.
And I,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah. Come. I
Tell
knew
me.
it's gonna come.
So tell me. So and this is something for all of you to take note of, right? But I'm asking you because happiness means different things to different people. Okay?
Boom.
It's also overrated as to how you view happiness.
Mm.
Okay? Stian, you don't have to answer me. Okay? You may not know this answer, and in either one of you, which I don't know, what does it mean to be happy?
You.
To have a good
I don't
job,
know.
to have a dog, to have a husband, to have a wife, to have a house, to have a job, to be financial dependent, to be having a career. What is happiness? Because how I see happiness is very different from whatever I just mentioned right now. It's none of
I
those.
I do
Mm.
feel all of the above that you've mentioned boils down to materialistic things. Being financial stability, that's a job, it's money, it's a house, it's a new car. I don't think that's happiness at the end of the day. You can find happiness in some materialistic stuff, but at some point it is going to go down. You're going to buy a new car. That's wow, I have this new car. Great stuff. You're happy with a new car, but at one stage it just comes a basic thing that you use throughout the day. So I think with materialistic things, you can have extent of happiness, but that doesn't define happiness. I think happiness boils down to be at that point in life where you are. It's going to sound very dumb if I tell you it like this. To be okay with yourself, to be at peace with
Yes.
who
Yes.
you are and with who you are with.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
supposed to be happiness, because it's something apart from materialistic stuff. You can't buy that. Being happy with yourself and being who you are, or being happy with who you are with the other person. That boils down to me what happiness is. If you don't like who you are with the companion that you have, but she buys you nice stuff, so you have that temporary happiness in between, that's not happiness. Then you're not supposed to be in that relationship, because you're not happy with who you are. So you don't have that satisfaction with who you are. So all that stuff that you named on your hand, it's all materialistic things. Yes, it does contribute going that, and I think there's a lot of people that even go as far as connecting their happiness to social media, having that comments, having that likes. That in a way it does make you feel happy, because it has shown that having such much likes on your Instagram page, your body creates serotonin, which is a happy hormone. But like I said, it's only temporary. So you need it's dividing those stuff in between and finding what's true happiness for you as a person at the end of the day. And that's why I say my happiness is if I am happy with who I am with that other person. Do I see myself as I am still growing? I'm not stagnant. I didn't come to a full stop. My life is still building. I can still go places. That is what happiness is for me. I don't want to come to a still stand with someone and then that's who I am. That was the end of me. That's where happiness kind of stops for me. So
we have a comment. So we do have a comment in the live chat. And the comment is, happiness is about being content with who you are.
Exactly.
And where you are in life.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle you have chosen for yourself.
I actually wanted to say that like if I were to define happiness for myself, it's like I'm at peace with who I am right now and what I have right now. I'm not trying to think about the past. I'm not trying to think about the future and what I have, but like happiness right now in this moment, I'm at peace with who I am. But it doesn't mean that like I'll forever remain who I am. Like there is an opportunity to grow, and happiness is also not like something that you can put in a bubble wrap and I'd be like, yeah, there's happiness, right? It's ever changing and it's ever growing. And one thing that might make you happy today, tomorrow it might not make you happy tomorrow. So happiness is like it's a spectrum. Yes, happiness is a spectrum, and you can be at the high end of the spectrum of happiness, and another day you can be at the low end. So it's a thing that's continuous, I think.
Interesting to see how you guys look at the world and how you view things, you know, from where you stand today as being young youth, right? Because we do tend to look at the very materialistic things in life, but we don't tend to look at our environment and what is surrounding us versus, you know, culture and a broader spectrum, you know, of things. Another comment is about, this may be broad, but how do you think regret factors into one's decisions to get married? So let me pick this up. So let me pick this question up, right? So there is no such thing as having regret. Regrets is not to say that it's not a mistake or it's not a lesson that should have been learned. Being married and saying that you regret that you were married or that you are married, it's actually telling you that you had to go.
Oh, no,
is it just my screen that froze?
No.
Okay, so the rest of you guys are still here.
Yeah, no, we're still here.
Sorry, Sesh. There was a technical issue.
Okay.
So
are you
yeah,
guys
we
there?
lost you there.
That you said it wasn't a mistake. It means you have to go back.
Okay. So I'm saying is that if someone tells you that they regret being married or they regret having married someone, something has to bring you back into say, why did I marry? There was a lesson taught for you in that space and in that marriage. Nothing goes not taught. It is a lesson, even in relationships, right? Even in relationships, relationships bring you knowledge, it brings you growth, it brings you value, it brings you insight. It also makes you understand yourself better.
Yeah.
People that walk into your life for a reason.
Yeah.
They have the saying about reason, season, and lifetime. Reason being somebody steps into your life for a particular reason at that given point in time. Somebody comes into your space in a season because they meant to teach you a lesson, for it to influence you in whatever decision that needs to. And someone becomes aware and walks into your life because he's your life partner or she is your life partner. So regrets are there to teach you valuable lessons about yourself, most importantly about life.
Yeah.
About how
I just
not-
want
Yes.
to ask you there. Constantly, when I hear people say, "I regret something," it's something that they did not want to do. Do you, in your personal capacity, think that those are the type of people that did not identify the lessons in that situation that they should have learned, that they are too arrogant, basically, not to go further and understand, listen, I might have learned this about myself. I might have been wrong in this type of situation. Do you feel like people just throw the word regret towards that because they don't want to see that from themselves?
So you can look at it in two ways, right? And if I come from a corporate perspective where I have multiple teams under me, where people use the word regret, you know, it's a word that's been used out of context, right? People are not willing to reflect on themselves,
That's
right?
true.
And it is a fear. When someone looks at themselves, they are not willing to accept what they see.
So
And they're
boiling
not
it down, basically. Okay, sorry. Go for
and
it.
they're not willing to understand the role that they have played in that situation or that scenario. So when somebody says, I regret being in this department, my first question would be to that person that's saying that would be, why do you feel this department is not able to, able to help you or grow you or teach you, right? You will find the words that people use will always point to the other side. It will never be pointed to yourself, even in marriages, right? If you have a look at COVID right now, there has been so much of divorce cases happening at this moment, right? The courts are filled, lawyers are busy because of divorces, right? When somebody says, I regret being married, it's very concerning for me. It will not tell you who you are after a marriage or while in a marriage. It doesn't also tell you who the person you are today, right? Guys, I want to share something with you guys, right? I mean, I got married at the age of 19, okay? I come from a very traditional Indian family. Culture deep rooted comes from the older generation, right? Where at that given point in time, I was told to be married. There was no choice. So at the age of 19, I got married. Not because I wanted to, because I got told to be married. Okay? If you ask me today, is marriage overrated? I am 41 today. I think it is overrated. And that's my opinion, okay? And that is because of the challenges, the things that you've been in life, society, social media, judgment, fear, parents, and family, that actually pushes that pressure on someone to get married. Okay? I believe that marriage is a choice. It's a choice, not because of what society, religion, and culture is telling you or dictating for you to do, but it's a choice. And I believe everybody has a choice and should be able to make their own choices based on whatever they believe is the truth to themselves, not to others, but to themselves. Okay, I was married at 19, and I was married for 21 years. I met my ex-husband at the age of 16. 16, guys, 16 years old, right? He and I eventually got divorced, all right? We got divorced, and we know each other for 23 years. If you ask me, do I regret that? Oh, hell no. It would not make me the woman that I am today. It would never make me the woman that I am today. The amount of things that I have learned being at that young age and where I am today, I can truly tell you that I'm not that same person that I was 19 years ago. Do I respect marriage? So do I respect marriage? Yes, I do respect marriage because it is part of being human, right? It is part of being human. Is it for me now? No, it isn't. Would I change my mind? Maybe I would. Guess what? I love being alone. It is the most beautiful thing that one could give themselves.
Being happy alone. I wanted to say, right?
Can I just ask? Sorry, Ruda.
Yeah, sure.
No, ask Sesh, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask now, and you don't have to answer it, but if you knew what you know now, would you have stayed married?
No.
Okay.
And that's my honest answer, right?
Mm.
I wouldn't have changed anything. I would have changed stuff within myself though.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would have changed is that I should have spoken up more. And that is why I have Open Mic Foundation.
Mm.
I took my pain that I experienced and I made it into a purpose. Because we are not our true selves when we are in a relationship and when we are in a marriage. We hold ourselves back. Why? Not for ourselves to make the other person feel better about themselves.
Yeah, sure.
And let's be honest, women tend to do that constantly. Constantly. We tend to put other people's feelings first, other people's desires first, other careers first, everything else but themselves.
I agree with that.
100%.
Yeah. 100%.
But you know what I wanted to say to the individual who commented about regret. Like Seshi said, and I want to bring it back to the youth. We have this funny business of wanting to unsee certain things, unsee certain exes. Ooh, is that my ex? I don't think so. And you kind of want to forget or don't want everybody to know that, oh, you actually went through that with somebody. The youth nowadays, everything seems, you want everything to be perfect. Even your ex, even when you guys are not together, it must be like still perfect. And what I want to say to the person who commented that regret, it should, I don't even know why that word exists. It should never be regret, especially with a relationship or with even with the friendship. People forget about friendships, how deep the bonding can be. Friendship, relationships, romantic relationships, any relationship you have, it should never come out of regret, because when you look at yourself in third person, you look at yourself and you're like, wow, from this relationship I learned 1 2 3 4 5. With my long-term relationship with the person that I was with since high school, that Rudo now and the Rudo today is completely different. And it's your choice to pick up and be like, I don't want to carry whatever I carried with me for and dwell in it so that it can affect my next relationships. So I think when if I understood your comment correctly, you said that can regret hold you back? But regret, it shouldn't even be regret. It should be lessons that you carry, that you know now, that are even pushing you forward to love correctly, to maybe stop your toxic ways, or to fix yourself internally, to know that, wow, I did love that person, but I can love even better with the next person. So regret should, I regret even using the word regret. It shouldn't be regret. Regret is lessons learned that you carry with you. And it's so beautiful. Sometimes people see the ending of something to be such a terrible thing, but when you look at it, it can actually be the greatest blessing that can happen to you. It can be a blessing. You and someone separating, you fasting from somebody, which is so deep. Imagine fasting from somebody, but you having that disconnect and breaking that connection can sometimes be something that you need. You know what I mean? Sometimes what you pray for is what leaves you. So don't say you don't regret, because anything that is meant for you really will come to you. And I know that's so cliche, but really and truly, anything that leaves or comes to you is just the time for it. And if it leaves you, it wasn't meant to stay with you for your life, and that's just what it is. So don't regret.
Can I just
They
say
do
also,
say that
Brittany?
every ending has a start of a new beginning, right?
Yeah.
Luseko?
Exactly. I think there's a technical issue. I think she just left, so she might just be reconnecting.
Okay, Stian, you're gonna say something?
I wanted to boil it down to what you said. I think that the main thing that you want to trying to say is communication in a relationship is something that's very important. That's why you said you want, if you wanted to change something about yourself, it would have been something like to speak up more. And I think that comes down to communication. If something bothers you, it needs to be communicated. If you feel like you are stepping back for someone else, you need to communicate that. Is that what it came true?
It is communication. It's definitely a very key big pillar in any relationship, right? However, I think it's more about being, when we change and when we evolve, we move jobs, we move careers, we get into different social circles, you evolve and you change because those influences you, right? So what happens is that you tend to, when you change and when you evolve, you tend to miss the part of, you have people where they stay the same in the sense that they are content with themselves. And then where you have people that are already ahead, they have evolved, they've changed, they have changed their perspective of life and how they see the world, right? And when you have that, you tend to kind of not share that because you feel that you are going to make the other person feel bad, or that person is not going to get ahead. Or so it's not about communicating, but it's how you make yourself feel unworthy to someone else. So you tend to put yourself down instead of sharing that, and instead of that person supporting you, the person is actually not to the same page where you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So on the one hand, it is about communication, but on the other hand, it's also about, we tend to not be our true selves with the person. We tend to hold ourselves back to be afraid of sharing that, your dreams and your desires, because you feel that that person there is going to be made too small, or the person is going to be offended. Or you must remember something as well, Stian, and I think you and I had this conversation. The role of a man and a woman has changed in the household, right? Okay.
Definitely.
It has. You have a lot of women now that are the breadwinners in the house, right? And that plays a huge part in this as well, right? A lot of men cannot handle that. That influences the marriage as well, right? It does influence the marriage. It plays a big role in that as well.
Definitely.
All right, guys,
that was a hard topic though.
It was, but it was a topic that's needed, right? I mean, leave alone the pressures that we have in social media and how social media, gives a perception of what one's life is. Mental illnesses to the youth does need to be talked about, and I think, Rudo, it's a topic that we do need to talk about, right? About mental illness with the youth. And I think, Rudo, if you can get a group of young people together, let's have that conversation with them and talk about.
I'll throw my girlfriend in. She studied psychology, and
awesome.
She has a big opinion about mental illness. We spoke about it last night, actually. So, Rudo, hit me up. I'll give you her phone number. I'm sure she'll give an opinion on it.
Awesome.
She also needs to feel this pressure being live. I think it's something to experience.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Lesego, guys, we're going to wrap up. Is there any last comments from you guys? I hope you guys enjoyed it. It wasn't too much of pressure on you guys, but I do appreciate, your opinions, and I appreciate what you guys have been going through. And most importantly, I appreciate your authenticity that came across this conversation. So thank you so much from my side. So let's wrap it up. Lesego, any last words, questions, comments, thoughts?
All I'm gonna say is that all of this that we've just spoken about, it's a personal journey. One day you might find yourself saying that yes, you do want marriage. The next day you might say no, you don't. And I think it's an opportunity for us to also self-reflect, like you guys also said, like to self-reflect and introspect about where I am, why don't I actually want marriage, and why do I want marriage, and what are the traumas that I'm still holding on to that maybe might be affecting that decision or not. So yeah, it's a journey, and I don't know, maybe next year I'll change my mind, but for now, it's still low-key overrated.
I love it. I love the honesty. I love the honesty.
Yeah. Maybe when I find the right person, actually, maybe that might change.
Honey, you're gonna find that person. You're gonna find him. Don't worry, he's on his way. Kenwell?
Yeah, same as Lisa, like it's up to an individual to decide what they want to do. So like, decide and like think about why you think certain things, like, question. There's a lot of stuff that we take, just because, like when Stian put out like that list of things of like, college, marriage, kids, we just take that as like, that's how life should be. We should like, just think on things. So yeah.
Yeah. Rudo, last comments from you, Han, or questions or thoughts?
For me, for all the youth members watching this, even, you know what, maybe it's not even only for the youth, for everybody watching this, just do what makes you happy, just as long as it doesn't harm anybody, but do what makes you happy. And I know it's so difficult. I struggle with it myself, to just put myself first, but it's a trying process to try and do your best always, and to try to be the best version of yourself for yourself first. So if you live a very intentional and purposeful life, I think you'll find happiness. And yeah, all the best. And thank you so much for watching.
Awesome, Rudo. Stian.
Okay, I just need to state it again. I am steps driven. I am an analytical person. That's why I became an auditor. That's how I approach life, in steps. You need to achieve something before you can go to the next day. And sometimes you need that. Same with happiness, same with marriage at the end of the day. You need to take it day by day. I think that is basically what I wanted to break it down by. That's why I said steps at the end of the day because it builds up to bigger steps and bigger goals, if you want to put it like that. But yeah, I do want to agree with Ruda. At the end of the day, do what makes you happy. Strive for what makes you happy, not by injuring other people or breaking down other people, but do what makes you happy and find someone that's on that same wavelength as you to strive for that specific happiness that you can share with them.
Just some comments that's coming through, guys. Y'all were great. Really enjoyed the session. These are conversations that young people should have on a daily basis. Thank you so much for the session, guys. Really enjoyed listening and unpacking this topic. So I am going to leave you with this, okay? In 2018, I met a monk, okay? This monk said one thing to me, and it changed my life as to how I saw what happiness is. He didn't know me at all, didn't know what my situation was at all. He said one thing to me. He said, for me, true happiness is acceptance.
100%.
I'm not going to discuss with you what that means. It took me a while to understand what that means. It made me realize until it hit me months and months later what that truly meant. And all I'm saying to you guys today is that true happiness is acceptance. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. To the dads out there, happy Father's Day. I wish you guys a fabulous day. I hope you had beautiful blessings from your family and your kids and they appreciated you. I want to welcome all our viewers today and say thank you guys so much. We will bring a group again through talking about mental illness. Rudo is going to be arranging that. Guys that are on, if you guys are interested, contact us and definitely, share if you guys want to be part of the chat. There's always open slots. If you guys want to reach out to Open Mic Foundation at outlook.com, you can messenger us on Facebook. We are there. Come on to the platform and let's have a great conversation. Yes, Rudo.
Please, to all our viewers, remember not only to follow our social media platforms, but we do have a winter drive currently running. It is finishing, it is ending at the end of the month, okay? So please, if you have blankets, beanies, and scarves, there are 3 drop-off points, 4 ways, Pretoria and Centurion. You can contact Sheshni, myself, or drop us a DM, and we will definitely make means to meet you halfway to get the donations.
Yeah, so Rudo is doing the winter drive. She's going on onto the streets and she's going to be giving out the blankets and beanies to the homeless. She will be going out next month. So we still have at least about a week and a half to 2 weeks, guys. So I am appealing to you guys. Send us a DM. There's 3 drop-off points. Get in touch with us. Anything is appreciated. We are going to go out onto the streets and give the homeless something warm over the period of July. So guys, thank you so much. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this.
Definitely. Thank you for having us.
Guys.
That was fun. Yeah, that definitely was
Awesome.
fun.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Hey, cheers.
Thank you.
Well, cheers, guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.